Hi readers, Lee here, welcome back to my channel. And so far, in April's reading, my theme has been primarily witchy books. So I've read five books so far this month, and 4 of them have had a witchy theme. The odd one out was Mary by Nat Cassidy, which is not witchy, but it is ghosty, and I had a good time with it. So, one of the things I did over the weekend was go through my downstairs TBRs and pull out witchy themed books. I believe I did a kind of witchy romance. Girl, I don't even remember what I last posted about. Yeah, I talked about witchy romances, and now I want to talk about witches in horror. And surprisingly to me, I found I had fewer books downstairs, this does not count books upstairs, that are horror that really talk about witches. I've got 1, 2, 3, 5 here, and some of them are probably, one of them is probably on the edge. Anywho, let's get started. First off, and one of these is going to be my next read, I'm just not sure which one it is, but first off we've got The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. This book was also featured in Sadie Hartmann's 101 Horror Books to Read Before You're Murdered. Recommend this. I bought so many books because of that. In the Year of the Witching, in the land of Bethel, where the prophet's word is law, Emmanuel Moore's very existence is blasphemy. Her mother's union with an outsider of a different race cast her once proud family into disgrace. So Emmanuel does her best to worship the Father, follow holy protocol, and lead a life of submission, devotion, and absolute conformity, like all the other women in the settlement. But a mishap lures her into the forbidden dark woods surrounding Bethel, where the first prophet once chased and killed 4 powerful witches. Their spirits are still lurking there, and they bestow a gift on Emmanuel, the journal of her dead mother, who Emmanuel is shocked to learn once sought sanctuary in the wood. Fascinated by the secrets in the diary, Emmanuel finds herself struggling to understand how her mother could have consorted with the witches, but when she begins to learn grim truths about the church and its history, she realizes the true threat to Bethel is its own darkness. And she starts to understand that if Bethel is to change, it must begin with her. Either this or the next one I'm going to tell you about is going to be my next read. There's 2 little side tracks here. Apparently there's a second book in this series coming out, and it's on Goodreads, and they link to shop on Amazon, shop on Barnes & Noble. Neither of those link to the second book. I have no idea when the second book is coming out, but now I want it right now. Anywho, I'll make a decision on that. Second little sidebar is that yesterday I went down a rabbit hole trying to find more horror books with witches in them, but I could not find much that I didn't have. And it seems like some people, if the book just has a witch in it, they call it horror, but I disagree on that. This next book is definitely horror. Not read it. It was also featured in 101 Books to Read Before You're Murdered, and that is Hex by Thomas Olde Heuvelt. Now, Sadie Hartmann gave this 3 stars. She said it was a little hard to get into, but she loved the ending. So, again, I'm going to read a couple pages from each of these 2 books, and one of them will be my next read. So, whoever is born here is doomed to stay till death. Whoever settles never leaves. Welcome to Black Spring, the seemingly picturesque Hudson Valley town haunted by the Black Rock Witch, a 17th century woman whose eyes and mouth are sewn shut. Muzzled, she walks the streets and enters homes at will. She stands next to children's beds for nights on end. Everybody knows that her eyes may never be opened, or the consequences will be too terrible to bear. The elders of Black Spring have virtually quarantined the town by using high-tech surveillance to prevent their curse from spreading. Frustrated with being kept in lockdown, the town's teenagers decide to break their strict regulations and go viral with the haunting. But, in so doing, they send the town spiraling into dark medieval practices of the distant past. This was... Stephen King says it's totally brilliantly original. This was published, copyright 2013, English translation, I think it's translated from the Dutch, 2016. This is a great concept. I kind of wish somebody would take this concept, which could have happened in the pandemic, where people revolt from lockdown and make a horror story out of it. It's an idea, don't you think? The next one, I am not sure why I bought it. I don't really have any desire to read it, but I figure I will probably end up at some point reading it and then loving it and then be like, why did I wait so long? And that is called Red Rabbit by Alex Grecian. This is kind of like, seems to have a Western vibe, and I'm not really into Westerns or sci-fi, so let's see. Every hired gun in Kansas is out to collect the bounty on Sadie Grace's head, including bona fide witch hunter Old Tom and his mysterious mute ward, Rabbit. On the road to Bergen County, they're joined by two vagabond cowboys with a strong sense of adventure but no sense of purpose, and a recently widowed schoolteacher with nothing left to lose. As their posse grows, so too does the danger. Racing along the drought-stricken plains in a stolen red stagecoach, they encounter monsters more wicked than witches lurking along the dusty trail. But the crew is determined to get that bounty or die trying. Yeah. I think I bought this because I had ordered something from a bookstore and I need to order a second thing. I don't know why. Anywho. Next up is a book that I did not seek out. It came as part of my Nightworms package 1 month last year. Nightworms is a horror subscription service that I subscribe to. It's just under $60 a month, and I love it. So this is Rootwork by Tracy Cross. It is book one in a Conjure series, and it doesn't specifically say it's about witches, but they talk about voodoo and hoodoo, so I'm categorizing this as witch horror. The year is 1889. Set in a small Louisiana parish deep in the segregated South, Rootwork follows school-age sisters Betty, Ann, and Pee-wee during one life-changing summer when the three of them head off to stay with their hoodoo-practicing aunt, Theodora. A powerful woman feared by the local townspeople. She teaches the girls the secrets of her craft, like how to make hot foot powder and how to whip up some gopher dust to get back at an enemy. The girls delight in their harmless hoodoo adventures until a tragic event involving the town's racist sheriff promises to change their lives forever. That does sound good. Finally, this one is not... Is it? Let me see. Let me just check real quick before I say something wrong. It is. So it is featured in Sadie Hartmann's 101 Horror Books to Read Before You're Murdered, but just as a horror with illustrations. However, one time on the social, I did reach out to Sadie Hartmann for a recommendation, and she recommended Slewfoot by Brom, and it does have illustrations. You can't see them very well because there's a glare, and they are fantastic. This was also under consideration for my next read, and we'll see. Set in colonial New England, Slewfoot is a tale of magic and mystery, of triumph and terror from acclaimed author and artist Brom. An ancient spirit awakens in a dark wood. The wild folk call him Father, Slayer, Protector. The colonists call him Slewfoot, Demon, Devil. To Abatha, a recently widowed outcast, alone and vulnerable in her pious village, he is the only one she can turn to for help. Together, they ignite a battle between pagan and Puritan, one that threatens to destroy the entire village, leaving nothing but ashes and bloodshed in its wake. This sounds awesome. Not sure which of these I'm going to read next, but God, look at that cover. It's just fantastic. I do not know who Brom is. I'm going to have to do some research on that or some Google search. Anywho, that's all my witchy horror. I sure wish I had a lot more. That's all my witchy horror downstairs. That did not go up to my upstairs library. It seems like there would be a lot more witches in horror. Someone should let me know if there's some witchy horror that I'm not aware of. And that is all for me. I'll be up on shorts talking about some of these soon. Happy reading!